Hey everybody, welcome to You're the Operant Power with Gail and Jane. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Gail. You
Stage
cut it
fright?
out there. I'm here.
After 50 videos, you're finally getting stage fright?
Yeah, I know, right?
um, so today we're going to talk about, I guess, judgment in the sense of you become what you dislike the most.
Mm.
Well, anything that you resist, you have the potential to become that without really understand if you don't understand how you are creating your reality. So there's kind of examples I see in groups, activism type groups, where their intention is good, but it's a battle and it's us against them. So it's them against whoever, the government, another group, certain whatever. There's always the us against them. And what's really obvious to me, anyways, as I read things, is that the responses that are given to people or the ideology that's pushed is really for those that don't buy into it fully, they're not treated very well. Which is, if you use government, for example, activists against government, the government does this, the government does that, the government does that, freedom, we want freedom. Yet, somebody will come in and say, well, you know what, I don't really buy into what you're selling here. And they'll be like, get out of here then. Who do you think you are? Sheep, bah, bah. They'll go on.
Yeah.
And okay, so what does the government do to them when they say to the government, we want freedom? They're like, hey, how about this bat over the head, from a cop? How would you like that? How's that for freedom? So
Yeah.
I mean, the actions may be different, but it's the same mentality that you can't be free and not allow others to be free. And
Yes.
I mean, we're all
Yes.
going through this, whole free speech thing. I mean, that's actually a really good one because you see, people will preach free speech. Don't say that to me. No, you don't talk to me. You don't disrespect me like that. And then they get really offended by it. So they don't really buy into free speech because, this whole cancel culture is canceling out people for freely speaking.
That's right.
They can do it. Only our group can talk about freedom. You don't know what freedom is because you think stupid, you think wrong, you think blah blah blah. And it's okay to think differently, but you don't want to be reacting.
Yes.
Let them be. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, we don't really we'll have to agree to disagree and
Yes.
best to you because
Yes.
freedom for everybody. Yes, freedom for everybody.
Well, it's only
Those are you
because,
sheep.
yeah, and it's only, I find that it's easy to say something until it comes in complete opposition to what you think. And then it goes back to how convicted you are about, like you said, is it free speech or is it just that you've heard what you wanted to hear up until that moment and then you hear something
Echo chamber.
exactly an echo chamber. Where it shows up for me the most is driving, and I've worked like I continue in my pursuit of all is well when I'm driving, and like as soon as I'm thinking in my and I'm listening to you now, and I think what it was that I was expecting other people to drive like I drive, and then everything's great. But the second they didn't, I was like losing my mind. Like, what are you doing? Like I still
Middle finger, horn.
right. So it's been showing up in my reality. So the last couple times it showed up, I sat at a light behind somebody that they could have turned right the entire time. They waited the entire length of the super long light. And I was usually I'd be beeping the horn like in seconds, like go, you know, and I just sat there and I just thought, well, maybe they need to just sit there and maybe I need to sit here for a minute. And is it really that big of a deal? Are you really invested in not reacting, or are you just want things to you just want people to do what you do? Like there's a big difference in that, especially when you're
Well, okay. You're not like, if you got out of the car and went up to them and like, would you get going? Come on, get going, get that car going, or you're beeping the horn or whatever. You're not going to be able to change anything on the outside, because on the inside, you're still saying, look at that.
that's right.
There. So, and the other thing I just want to bring up that I don't think we've ever actually talked about it before. You and I have, but I don't think we have on video, is if you don't want to be sitting there, then you forgive and imagine differently.
Right, right.
At all. Like, oh, well, I've got no power, so I'll just sit here.
Oh, right, right. So I should have imagined them turning.
Right. If that's what you wanted, or just
Yes,
in yourself at your end, at home in the driveway or whatever.
yes.
Because, and I think maybe this is something we will do a video on as well, because I think it's very easy. That's a state of mind that's very easy to get into, but we're not getting what we want because we're not really in our end. We're just settling and being tolerant.
Mm,
And it's okay to be
okay, yeah.
tolerant objectively, but to be tolerant internally,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that's not, we're not creating what we want to create. And there is opportunities, I think, for emotions to be pushed away and created and pushed out of the way, because you wanted to go and be home. You didn't, or you wanted to go to the store. You wanted to be moving. You didn't want to be sitting there. Now sounds like you took the opportunity to, you know, have some quiet time while you were waiting, which is good. But I mean, ultimately what you wanted was to be moving.
Yes.
So, you know, there's that frustration, like it's almost like oh, well, I'm defeated. I can't change him. So I'm okay with just sitting around waiting. And that may be okay. Like that may be your end. Like that's good. That this gives me time to just kind of chill. And, you know, maybe that's what you wanted. So it's you that's the driver of what you want, not the person, the actions of
Oh, yes, 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 yes. I
say,
get
you
that.
know, not moving. So you just have no choice but to sit there and, you know, whatever.
Yes.
You have no choice because I'm ahead of you. Like it's not about that. It's about, okay, you're not resistant to what's in the objective world, but that's not what you want. So you forgive. I know that I'm already home. Or I know that I am behind the best driver in the world, or whatever the case may be, right? As opposed to, well, there's nothing I can do, so I'll just sit here.
Well, I'd say too, like maybe this is an example. Like I was really resisting the whole idea that things could in Caesar's world could be told to me and I had to comply, or you know, things were being like I was having like these feelings of I'm not gonna comply, or I'm not gonna whatever. And then a whole
Why?
bunch of pardon?
Why?
Because I felt like I think it felt like it was going against my personal idea of how I see the world. So I was resisting it instead of changing it and realizing it was just showing up because of my pursuit of it, because I was like in charge of watching material on the internet and stuff like that. Like I was actually looking for it. So it ended up showing up in my reality, like really strong through somebody else. And we were talking about that. And it was like, at first I was like, that came out of nowhere. Like, you know, and then I got thinking about it and I was like, oh, geez, like I've been really resisting and focusing on this and feeling. So the underlying feeling was that I was somehow powerless over it, perhaps.
Right. So, see, because I don't think your reasoning is like, what do I want? I want to live my conviction. So, like, I don't
Right.
think anything wrong with that conviction.
Yeah.
Probably what happened was when you were watching the videos or listening to the videos or reading about it or whatever, and rather than still being in that conviction, laughing at it,
Yes.
self, like, God forbid, or no, that's not how it is, or whatever. If you were, you would need to consciously reject it,
Yes.
start seeping in, and there would be feelings attached to that.
Yeah.
And it was just those feelings that were creating and manifesting.
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of it now, I just like, okay.
Yeah. There it is. Okay.
It's all, what meaning are you giving to that?
Yeah.
Like when you're watching that, what meaning are you giving?
Well, I was given now that
Comedy? Is it comedy?
no,
It's like
I
a
was
comic relief?
no,
Is it?
I know what it was. I was giving meaning to the fact that it was taking something away from me. And sure enough, in my reality, someone reflected back to me that I'm going to take something from you.
Right.
Almost exactly. So I was like, what's going on? Like, and then I realized, oh, I created this because I was putting feeling, like you said, feeling of
Lack, a feeling of lack, fear.
lack. Yeah.
That's actually a good example.
Yeah.
It's not, and that we talked about, I think the last video or a couple videos ago, where are you coming from empowerment, abundance, or are you coming from lack when you
Yeah, it was definitely from lack. Definitely. And I haven't been doing that for a really long time. And I think it was like all week. And then by the end of the week, it showed it. And it was, I experienced the other side of judgment because I was starting to feel a lack and then judge the other side, split love in two. And then, of course, what happens? It shows up like that. And then I'm all shocked. And I didn't, and see, had I immediately recognized that, I could have went, you're funny. I don't buy into that. But the truth was, I was sitting in that lack. That lack was having, I wasn't lifting myself out of that.
Yeah.
Or the other people. It was actually a specific people too that I was thinking about that it came directly from. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You are a manifesting master.
I know. So I'm going to keep it on the abundance, that I'm coming from abundance and the resolve.
You know, abundance, lack, fear, love. It's not always easy to identify the fear or the lack. Like it depends on your perspective, right? But it's always when fear's triggered,
Yeah.
it's always a lack. You're like
Yeah.
a powerlessness, like you said.
Yes.
It's not, that's the old man.
Yeah.
Or the old woman, not the new woman. The new Jane.
Yeah, the new Jane, not the old. Oh, you look like an old lady. Get your hair cut. Should I share that one with them?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so in one of the videos, Gail just randomly said, you know, like, I feel like an old lady, I got to get my hair cut. And I got my haircut, and before we went to record, I was like, yeah, I got my haircut. And you said to me, I don't know where that came from. And I said, and after we talked, I got thinking about it, and I had looked in the mirror before I got my haircut, and those exact words had gone through my head. You look like an old lady, get your haircut. Like, and they came out.
I was saying it as an example to something.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. I wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Sake.
I don't think I was really meaning it either. Like, I was just being like in the critical. I was being critical of myself, judging myself. Yeah.
So you've obviously forgiven that.
Yes, I forgave that.
You know, all us old girls are young looking.
That's right. So young looking.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can probably stop it there. So again, look at the meaning, look where you're coming from. What else was it that we talked about?
Well, make sure you're not when you're watching stuff that feels, you know, like it's making you feel powerless or lacking somehow, or you're resisting, that you shift that and lift yourself out of that into a place of, oh, I don't even think that.
And check. I mean, originally, I think what we started this video was about becoming what you
resist. Yeah.
So check your reactions. Where are they coming from?
Yes.
Because, and that goes back to, I think, a lot of, in looking at, you know, just the example that I used of activists, that goes back to a lot of what you had just mentioned about feeling powerless.
Yes.
They're not empowered in the way they're acting. They're acting based on feeling powerless.
Right.
As opposed to feeling powerful and abundant, because the reactions would be a lot different. So anyways. Okay, well, thanks for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and any questions or comments we're happy to have. And we'll be back again soon. Take care.
Bye for now, Gail.